All right, we're recording. So this is our first episode of Cool Ranch Conspiracy Corner. If you guys don't know, Cool Ranch Chris is my brother.
So
And growing up, we always liked talking about conspiracies. We're both into like Joe Rogan and PK, and so conspiracies are a frequent topic on those shows.
yeah,
Um, so this is just like a small little podcast format show where we talk about whatever conspiracies or weird news that comes up throughout the weeks. I don't know how often we're gonna do this. I guess we'll judge based off of how the podcast does. This is just gonna be a video format show too. I don't plan on posting this on Spotify or anything, at least for now. But yeah, I guess we'll start. We were both talking about where to kind of begin, and I think we agreed aliens is a good place to start.
yeah. And I mean, there's a lot there, man. Like, I mean, I was talking about Area 51 because I feel like that's where it all starts. Is all the crap that people think might be there. And personally, I mean, with like the Bob Lazar stuff and just like all that, it's like, dude, they gotta know something.
Yeah, I mean I've talked to guests on Creators Unite about how Bob Lazar to me is one of those cases where the guy either has to be like the greatest liar like known on the planet, or he's telling the truth. And either way, I don't know if he has. To me, I think he's telling the truth. There's just too many reasons why he's not lying. Like, I mean, I've seen these videos where you sit there for like an hour and they just dissect like him on Joe Rogan, and how if he was lying, he would have these kind of signs, these micro expressions, and they just don't happen. Like, it's all of it seems like he's recalling it from true memory. And there's times where if he was lying, he would kind of like use it as a point to continue his lie, and he doesn't. Where you're like, oh yeah, this and that. You kind of keep going with it. He doesn't do that. It's kind of scary because the stuff that he's talked about, it really does make you think that the government's hiding a lot from us.
Well, what I think is cool is that like he brings up a lot of technology that like didn't really exist at the time. There was it like the handprint scanner or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Where it like measures the lengths of the bones in your hand. Yeah.
yeah, and then he mentioned something about how like the actual like UFOs they had were built, and it was like layer by layer, but the way he originally described it was like a wax, because
Yeah.
3D printing didn't exist at the time, so there wasn't really a way to like describe it. And then when
Mhm.
3D printing happened, like when it became mainstream, he was like, "Yeah, that's what it is," because that's literally what it looks like. So there's little things like that. It definitely adds to the credibility of what he's saying. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that people have looked at in the past with like his previous employment, and I forgot what school he went to, but they were saying that he's like not even in the yearbook.
Yeah, I can't remember the
So
school either. But I mean, they also said that his social security number's gone. Like, he
yeah,
doesn't have,
that's
yeah, he doesn't have a social security
yeah,
number. I don't know if they fixed that or not, but like basically, it was like they tried to
erase
discredit
him.
him by erasing him to make people think
Yeah,
that like he's some kind of illegitimate person who's maybe just trying to spread false information. So,
I mean,
um,
you gotta think though, man. Like if they have that stuff, they don't know how it works.
well,
So
that I
that's
mean, that was his whole
that's
point, was that they
yeah,
basically, it's like a program where every 10 years they 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 basically recruit new people that specialize in what biochemistry and all kind of like what nuclear physics, all kinds of crazy
yeah.
stuff.
Well, he
To,
was he was propulsion, right?
he was propulsion because he was the one that they picked up. He said the reason they picked him up is because, and I haven't looked this up, but I've seen pictures of it. He was basically known in this town for being the guy, the nerdy dude who put a jet engine in a Honda, like a car. So they picked him up because he basically stood out as somebody that smart to where
Yeah.
he was able to do that.
Well, so that brings up something else though. Like I know there was something about apparently in the COVID release bill, the newest one, the newest one that's coming out. Um, they tried adding something in where it was gonna make so the CIA had to release stuff.
Oh no, that passed. That passed.
It did?
Yeah, back in January.
Holy
It's supposed
crap!
to come out in June. The files The files apparently leaked already though, and I started looking through them, and I mean it's like watching paint dry. Like so much of it is like
Just them saying,
it's
yeah,
not
well, we
it's
saw
not
this, we don't know what
sorted.
it is.
It's not sorted,
Yeah,
nothing. And like it's CIA files, so it's they use some kind of system where like if you want to like look up a certain case number, there's like a number and a letter and all this stuff like that. And so
right.
there's people who are like, yeah, like it's gonna take somebody who has the knowledge how to use their like classification system to arrange it in chronological order. Because like I click on one and it says like 1967, and then you click the next one and it's like 2003. Like they're not in order at all. Because I was looking for the Phoenix Lights. That's what I was looking for.
Uh,
Because that's always been the one that interests me
it's
a
kind
lot.
of close to home too, so
Yeah. Because we're both from Arizona, so it that one always piqued my interest because it also happened around like my first birthday, I think. So I think I was 1 at the time when it happened. But
well,
uh,
I feel like the CIA wouldn't be the place to go to for that though. Like I would think Department of Defense.
well, the CIA was the one that was documenting it. Apparently, like their
Uh,
job was to document it all because it's the UAF program,
right. No,
and
that's true.
it's classified as U.S. military intelligence, and
That was
so
UAPs.
well,
It's,
there's all
it's
kinds of there's
unidentified aerial phenomenon or whatever it
oh yeah,
is.
UAPs, not UAFs.
Yeah.
Phenomenon spelled
uh,
with a PH front of it.
um, but so there's also those videos that we were talking about a while back where like it was people in like the Air Force who were seeing these objects that were traveling like super fast and they would accelerate like to these really high speeds and then slow down almost instantly.
Yeah, you're talking
And I
about
think
the Nimitz videos.
I think so. And there was one that like went into the ocean or something
Yeah,
like that.
one
Like
of the pilots was on Joe Rogan.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and he talked about how like they were having trouble locking onto them, and like I've used those FLIR cameras before. Those things like they see stuff that you can't see. So they were tracking these objects that they could not see, and they were basically they were breaking the tracking that those FLIR cameras use. So they were basically stopping and stopping and whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to what I don't know what words I'm looking for, but basically they would stop and start moving so fast that it would break the lock on that those cameras use. And I've been able to track birds from like 10 miles away with those things. So it's pretty crazy.
Mm.
Or like planes, jets that are going 300 miles an hour taking off from an airport. I've been able to track them from 10 miles away, like so those whatever they were moving so fast that they were able to break the lock
Well,
on.
because the idea with Bob Lazar, he was saying that they were using element 115, and I think the
Yeah.
idea there is that it's so dense that you can actually use it to like bend space so that you can
Yeah.
like you're using gravity to like move you
Yeah.
forwards and back.
He was saying that the element we don't know how they were able to make it stable enough to do that because it's a very unstable element, but basically they were able to make it into like a fuel. Like this is what they consider the fuel for these aircrafts, and it would basically manipulate the space in front of it to propel itself. So there's no thrust, there's no exhaust. It's just the space in front of you, like the atoms in front of you are being manipulated in order to move you forward without any sound or anything.
Yeah, because the physics behind it would basically be like if you were to have.
It
Um,
defies physics, by the way. So, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so because if you're making something have more mass or you give it more gravity, essentially, it'll pull you
It'll
forward.
pull you forward. Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is, I feel like there's a certain point where if you do that, stuff starts to fuse and
Yeah.
turn into like a star. So I don't know. Maybe that's why it's a fuel is because you can only
Yeah.
do so much at a time instead of it being. It's weird, but
All they know is that they tried. He said that they tried to what's it called? He said that when he was there was an accident. You hear
I
about
didn't hear
that?
about that.
He said
No.
that he had heard that the guy that he replaced died in an explosion because he tried to use a plasma cutter to open up one of the fuel cells that had this element 115 in it.
Yeah, you don't do that, man. That sounds no. Yeah.
I mean,
I would try. I wouldn't even try and like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
This dude just took a plasma cutter, started like opening a hole that just exploded. Bro.
Well, to me, I would think like, because you got to think of what plasma is, right? Like it's super hot.
I mean, it's like a
Uh,
welder.
yeah,
Plasma, yeah.
but plasma
Welders.
itself is it's so hot that like the atoms turn into like soup.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to put that anywhere near something that's like supposed to not be stable most of the time, I
Yeah.
can see how that could quickly go wrong.
Well, he
Because
said that there was a way to actually like basically you could activate and deactivate the cells so they were not active. And I guess maybe he was saying when it was not active, the guy tried to cut it open, and it just blew up and it killed like 3 people.
what the heck?
Yeah. If you go watch Joe Rogan, he talks about it because the guy that was I'm not gonna lie, the guy that was on the show with him, he's been on the
It's
show
annoying.
before. I just didn't like the way that he talked. He was too kind of
Yeah,
like nutcase about it. Where like he kept kind of
yeah.
like pulling for stuff. He wanted to. I don't know. He was grasping at stuff that like I
Yeah,
don't
was
know.
he kept saying, well,
It
there's
was
these
almost like he's a
documents, and
fanboy at the same time, you know?
yeah, he's like, there's these documents. Jorgen's like, what documents? Like, what are these
Yeah,
documents saying? He's like, well, there's these documents. He's like, oh, what documents are you talking
yeah,
about? But so when they talk about like the stability and stuff like that, they're talking about how there's certain isotopes of uh, certain elements where like it'll be more or less stable than the normal one. So like for example, there's like uranium 235 and 238 or whatever, right? And some are more stable than others. And so I'm
yeah,
assuming what he's talking about there is they give it more neutrons to keep it stable. And there's certain points where it ends up having enough neutrons to be stable enough to survive for longer than like a couple milliseconds or whatever.
yeah.
So, but the hard part is getting enough of it because that's hard to synthesize, man. That's
Well,
like usually when they
it
make
wasn't
it.
even an element at the time. So like, yeah, it's like,
Well, I mean, because technically, like you could probably go as high as you want to, but it only lasts so long.
yeah,
So, I mean, I could see why. I don't know. I mean, at the same time, I don't have a degree in that kind of stuff, so I
yeah,
could be
yeah,
completely wrong. But from my understanding, it's based off of the amount of protons there, and then the more neutrons you add, it can change how stable it is depending on what element it is.
yeah. I also want to say to anybody who's listening to this, especially me, we're a couple of dummies that are just recalling stuff from memory. Joe Rogan always
Right.
says he's not a smart person. He's just a dumb guy repeating stuff he's heard from smart people. And that's what I like to say about myself. I'm talking out of my ass. Like this is just
Yeah,
stuff I like talking about that I remember.
but
So
that's kind of the point. It's just that we're sort of talking about what what we think about certain conspiracy theories. Like
yeah,
there's some that are super out there, like flat Earth and stuff like that are just super dumb.
yeah.
But aliens, like it,
Wait, you
the
don't think
universe
the
is
Earth
pretty
is flat?
big. No, I think the
I
moon is
just
flat.
the moon's made of cheese, bro.
It's flat and it's made of cheese.
Uh,
Uh,
so Area 51. It's so the way that Bob Lazar talked about it is that Area 51 is not really, it's not really the place. There's a sector that is like it's like a part of a mountain near Area 51. Sector 7. That's not, no, Sector 7 sounds like some Transformers shit. I don't know.
I think you're right about
Yeah.
Transformers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's like there's a sector or something that's where he says he worked at. So he says that like the stuff that everybody freaks out about is not even at Area 51 according to his knowledge.
Well, I mean, if you take it from like a logical perspective, if you have a secret hideout for something, and then people are like, "Hey guys, there's a secret place that exists. What are you gonna do? You're gonna move the secret hideout." So if they had a bunch of stuff that is like super top secret, and people find out about that super top secret place, they're gonna move the super top secret stuff somewhere else. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, if there's UFOs that were there at one point, they're not there anymore.
Have you
But
have you looked into the To the Stars Academy at all?
that's
Tom
Tom
DeLonge,
DeLonge's.
yeah, from
Yeah.
Blink-182, and yeah.
Mm.
So, it's been a while since I've read about this stuff, but his name actually came up in the Clinton emails, and he said that he went to the White House he met at the White House about something to do with UFOs, and everybody thought he was full of crap. But then he showed up in those emails and like some memo about a meeting, so they think it really
The
happened.
heck?
Um, but yeah, I haven't seen too much from the To the Stars Academy lately. I think maybe they're waiting for that drop of all those files to happen.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean that Tom DeLonge went so far down the rabbit hole that like he basically got kicked out of the band. And then Angels and Airwaves, they said that they can't get him in the studio for more than like a day or two. He just like all of a sudden makes these like plans to go hang out with these other people who are trying to like, prove that this metal is from a spaceship or something. So
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's got plenty of money, so I don't think that he's like too
yeah,
worried about making music anymore.
yeah, he's doing what he wants to,
Yeah,
which you
which
got to
I mean, like,
respect
good for
that. But
him.
on Joe
Yeah,
Rogan, I mean, Joe Rogan even said he's like that dude is crazy. Like that guy is just like so far into it that like what's true and what isn't has kind of morphed together a little bit, you know?
but yeah, like that's the thing though. Once you cover so much stuff, there's a certain point where like even if something is almost entirely like full of nonsense, the stuff that does make sense will pop up and you'll probably get a hold of it. And so I think that's what
Yeah.
happened with him is that he's so deep into it that there's a lot of nonsense there, but he's found some stuff that might actually be true.
Okay. Tell mama I'm gonna eat later. Um, what was I gonna say? That distracted me. Um, he had said something about that the Russians had found a UFO or something, and Joe Rogan was like, "Who said that?" You know?
Well, that's the thing. So my fear is that like there are UFOs that exist that are like actually like alien spacecraft or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why we're so worried about it is because if we don't have them, somebody else has them, and it could be
Yeah.
China, it could be Russia, and that's where it's like, okay, now it's a matter of national security because if they have something that can travel that fast, we're freaking screwed.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that's funny though is that like if nobody has been able to figure out how they work, then nobody can really use it. Because like, why would you risk using the one spaceship you have, or the 10 or 11 that they say that you
Yeah,
have? When like every single one of them is precious. But the other thing is that Bob Lazar said that they weren't crashed, that like we found them buried somewhere, which is
yeah,
interesting.
well, yeah, because they were supposed to be like they're ancient, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like he had talked about
which
how even like these spacecraft might actually be like it's like the iPhone 3G compared to what we have now, like it's just
yeah,
super old
which
compared to what the aliens have now.
the thing is, so I don't fully understand like the capabilities of these things. Like, and
I
that's
don't
kind
think
of a dumb
anybody
thing to say,
does.
but I mean,
Yeah.
like, is it literally just for flying, or are there like weapons on it?
So Bob Lazar said that he was just like they basically made sure. So I think it was they actually had him do a. He thought it was a test, like he thought
Hmm.
they were checking to see if he could like how well he could recall stuff. Like it was basically like all this stuff, and they were like, "All right, what do you remember from that?" But he like they were just like, "No, that was like after they only let him look at it once," and he was like, he thought they were testing him because it sounded so ridiculous. But then after that, they were like, "No, that was like to catch you up to speed. Like that was everything we know." And he was like, it was so ridiculous and like so like all of it was like just like down rabbit holes where like we basically have no idea where these things are from, how they work. All they know is that they found them buried somewhere, and that how many they have, and that they're very old. Stuff like
Well,
that.
didn't he say that he saw an alien for like half a second?
And that was the thing, is that the guy that was sitting next to him was like, "You said you saw an alien, right?" And he's like, "No, no, no, no. I didn't say I saw an alien. I said I saw what looked like an alien, but I think it was just a dummy that they were using basically for reference of how big
Oh,
the creatures that would sit in these seats would be." And so he's like, "I don't think I saw an alien." And to me, that's another one of those things where it's like, if he was some guy who just wanted attention, he'd be like, "Yeah, I saw an alien, dude," But he was like, "No, no, no. I don't think I saw an alien. I think I saw a
that's
dummy."
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, because
So
I I feel like if anything, there's also the idea that if it wasn't to sort of get an idea, a sense of scale of who would be flying that thing, it could also just be something to throw people off. And I think he actually mentioned that as well, where it's like, if you go out and you say, "Oh, I saw an alien at this place," it's like, no, we don't have aliens,
I mean,
so
dude,
you're lying.
I've gone down so I think I started with Bob Lazar and on Reddit, like I was reading some stuff about Bob Lazar and Joe Rogan, and
Mhm.
somehow I ended up on some story where somebody was saying their uncle was servicing some power lines that went underground, and he went down a manhole, and all of a sudden he's in a freaking top secret underground part of Area 51, and he said there was aliens there and guards like handcuffed him and all this. I'm just like, dude, like
What
you
the
don't
heck,
like see, to me, it was like it was this huge elaborate story. He said, she said.
yeah,
Whereas Bob Lazar's story is like he's only told a firsthand account and like
yeah.
what he perceived out of what he saw. It's never like, well, I think I saw an alien.
Well,
You
so
know.
the thing is,
I don't
a
know.
lot of the conspiracy theories that are true end up being ones where it's like super boring, right? Because the idea is like whatever the most boring answer is probably the one that's correct. And I feel
Yeah.
like Bob Lazar's story, as interesting as it is, compared to everything else, it's rather tame.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like I said, he goes about it very like scientific. Like he was there to do what he was told and
Mm-hmm.
what he knew how to do. And obviously he wasn't there very long. I can't how long did he say he was there? Like 4 or 5 months?
It wasn't long though. Yeah, I think it was less than a year. I think you're right.
Yeah, because his wife started cheating on him and they saw that as a vulnerability. Because when
Mm-hmm.
I got so I've said this before too on other podcast episodes. When I joined aviation, like when I got aviation assigned to me as a job in the military, they did a background check for a secret clearance. So it goes I think it's classified, secret, top secret, and then like above that there's a bunch of magenta clearance and all this crazy crap that they say exists or doesn't exist. But anyways, I was like the second level on the security clearance, and it's like $100,000 to do the background check for the military. They have to pay for that, and basically it's like they hire people and they like I don't want to say names, but like they called like a friend of mom and dad's and basically asked them like, "Hey, is this guy ever uh like got in trouble for drinking and driving or stuff like that?" Just random stuff to just try and see if there's anything they can grasp at where it's like, oh yeah, this guy owes so and so, or this guy has a car loan with like a terrible interest rate or something like that, or had one, like just anything that could be considered a liability as far as like debt or bad marriage or bad relationship or family that visits Russia a lot or just random stuff like that. They look for anything that could be considered a vulnerability that would justify not giving you a clearance. And one of the things that they care a lot about is like what your home life is, the state of your home life. So as soon as they found out that his wife was cheating on him, they're like, all right, like this guy's, he's a vulnerability because he's too focused on home life, you know, that like, like they always talk about how like, they don't want you getting drunk and spilling the whole secrets of whatever mission you're assigned to. So it's like one of those things. It's like, you have something going on at home, you're going to go to the bar, get drunk, trying to deal with the stress, and all of a sudden some dude just heard about everything you're working on at Area 51, to put it in
Yeah.
perspective. So as soon as they found out that his wife was cheating on him, they basically made him do whatever he needed to do so that somebody could come in and take over. And that's when he decided, hey, with the way that things are going, I'm worried that they might kill me because I know so much. And so he went to the news. That's
He
that's
didn't go
the
to the
gist of what I
news, did
heard.
he?
Yeah, he
I
went to
thought
the
I thought
news.
he, I thought he brought his friends and then he went to the news.
Well, I think he took some friends to. He was like, he started telling people because he's like, I'm worried they're gonna kill me. And so like if
Right.
if people are paying attention to me, they won't do it because then that just proves my point. So he took some crew out, some guy that's a pretty well respected reporter or something like that,
I gotta find his name.
out to Area
Ricky.
51, like out in the desert, and was like, this is when they do the test flights, and sure enough, they saw a UFO flying around, and they even took his drawings and matched them up with the light, and it's the right shape.
Didn't he bring Robert Bigelow?
I think that's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
because
guy still
that guy
alive?
he did Joe Rogan recently.
He did. Okay, I gotta
25th,
watch.
yeah,
I gotta watch that episode.
yeah. That's why I was
I'll
like,
be
I know
honest.
who it is.
I have not kept up with Joe Rogan since he went to Spotify.
He did some he did one with Elon Musk, which was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't watch
Uh,
all of that.
that one was really good, dude. You need to watch that.
Did he smoke out of weed again? No, I'm just kidding.
No, no, but
They're in Texas now, so it's not legal. I don't think
they
you can.
talk.
You even get a medical card in Texas?
I don't know, man. I'm not from Texas, so I don't know, bro. You'd have to ask Amanda about that. But I would say um, that one is probably really good because they talk about like hover cars and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
think
just
that'd
my
be
problem is I just never have time. You
yeah.
know, like this is work. I'm making content. You know, it's just all.
I mean, that's the kind of thing. Like if you're doing like scripts for like I don't know, like a video you're doing for YouTube. You just listen to a podcast while you're doing it, that kind of stuff. But that's not the point. We're not talking about
I have
podcasts.
a hard time like when I edit, I can't listen to anything or else I get sidetracked. I'll start paying
Oh,
attention
dude,
to that.
I need sound like constantly. So
I'm the opposite. It distracts me too
yeah.
much. Like I was always like people were always listening to headphones in school during tests and stuff. I couldn't do it. It would distract me too much.
For tests, it's good because it makes you go by faster. But not for tests. I meant like worksheets and stuff. Tests is not a
You
good
know
idea.
what? You know what I did? They said that if you chew gum while you're studying, then when you chew gum during the test, it helps you recall what you studied.
Yeah, but I think that's stupid.
I did
Like,
it.
did it work?
I don't know. I can't prove whether it worked or not.
It didn't work.
I would like to think it helped. Maybe it was just a placebo effect.
Maybe aliens chew gum, man. That's how they built those UFOs, bro.
Bro, we definitely gotta like come up with a topic for the next one that's different. But I would definitely like to talk about the pyramids because the pyramids blow my mind.
Oh well, I don't know, man. Because I feel like it goes. It's like two sides. There's no in between. Where it's either okay, A, the aliens freaking did it, or B, it's perfectly normal and possible for them to build those. It's just that people like they go, whoa, they didn't have ramps back then. It's like, yeah, they did. Like,
but I saw a video on YouTube. Well, yeah, I sound like Eddie Bravo. I saw a video on YouTube, so it must be true. Look into it, but it was people who like legit took the method that they explained, where like they used water and ramps and stuff like that, and they tried to build a little pyramid, and it was a shit show.
Well, I mean, how long did they have to build it?
As much time as they wanted.
Yeah, they didn't have years and years and years to build it.
I know, but I mean, it's just like what the only reason they built those pyramids was like as a wasn't it something that they built them?
It's with the stars.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And not only that, but there's like records of like them knowing the constellations and stuff like that before like they should
Dude,
have.
just look up in the sky, bro. When you have nothing to do except like farm and look at cats all day and sand. Like,
yeah,
look
but
up
I'm
at the
talking
sky
about
and go,
like,
hey, those stars are always in the same spot, man.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like stuff that on the other side of the world. I don't know. It's just like you see things differently from different parts of the hemispheres. I don't know. I'm talking out my ass again.
But you know what's really weird? I remember hearing something about like the actual stones that they use. The material was like not native to that area that they were in.
Yeah.
Which is the part where I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I mean, they could have just brought a lot of water.
Well, I mean, like I said, save it for when we talk about the pyramids.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just found out that the Sphinx is like 10 times older than they thought, or something like that.
Yeah, I heard about that. But
yeah. Which totally ruins our timeline. So.
No, it doesn't.
It does, because that means that they don't know like how old other stuff is. Because basically they're saying that they have signs that the Sphinx was rebuilt a couple times, like it was touched up.
But they were there for like ever, man. So I feel like they had time to just sort of like rebuild stuff and do maintenance on everything.
So when I was
Say
in
we'll save
yeah,
it.
I just want to say when I was in history class in high school, like the pyramids and all that stuff was the stuff that I didn't give a crap about. I just wanted to talk about World War II and stuff.
Me
So
too.
like
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't even know what like wiped out the like that Egyptians like what happened to the Egyptians? Like what happened to their civilization?
Egypt's still there, man.
Yes, but I'm talking about like all the like they're not building pyramids today. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about those people.
They got bored.
They just like, all right, enough of
God.
this.
uh,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. We'll get into that some other time.
I
But
sound really stupid sometimes talking
no,
about stuff like that.
well, dude, we gotta remember, nobody actually knows. Well, actually, no, we're not gonna talk about it. I want to get
Okay,
into
we'll
it.
save it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to
but
talk about Bigfoot. I want to talk about the chupacabra. I want to talk about the pyramids. I want to talk about the Mandela effect. I want to talk about all that stuff.
the Mandela effect, I'll go in deep on that one. So
Yeah.
yeah, but no, there is the whole thing of like the abductions and stuff like that. How many of those do you think are actually real?
So this is my thing. You look at humans, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, we're all the same to an extent.
Yeah.
Like we all have the same organs, we have brains, we got the same skeletal system. I just feel like humans have been around long enough that it's like, why would aliens still be abducting us? There's nothing new, unless they're like, you know what I mean? I just don't see any reason for them to still do that if they
Well,
are.
I feel like it's not a matter of why are aliens still abducting us, and more of like which
Like-
ones are doing it. Because it could be that like a long time ago it was a different race, and now it's
Yeah,
another one.
Because there's I mean, this we could talk about that for days. I mean, there's so many theories as to like why aliens would come here or why they wouldn't, like the galactic zoo theory. Have you heard about that?
Where it's basically like they just look at us and go,
Yeah,
"Hey,
like-
that's pretty cool."
Like they drive by and it's like, oh look, Earth, humans, like, but
Look at
don't
these
feed
little
them,
monkeys that build buildings and make nukes.
Yeah, like we're
Yeah.
it's like going to the zoo and looking at the penguins.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's like,
I know
oh
Joe
cool,
Rogan-
humans, and you just
Joe
go about your
Rogan
day.
calls us the Tijuana of the universe.
I have never. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of true though, because like there's so much of crap going on here that's like we're weird, man.
Okay, I want to go. I just want to go on the record saying that I 100% think aliens are real.
Oh yeah.
Do I think that they visit? I don't know. I think they do, but I don't have any evidence to say that they for sure do.
The way that I'll put it is mathematically they have to exist. Like
I think mathematically they either have to or we're alone.
and which
and-
is insanely improbable. Yeah.
That quote always gets me, where it's like, we're either there's either a ton of other civilizations in this universe or we're alone, and both are equally terrifying to think about, because it's like if we're alone.
My monitor just turned off.
Yeah, we'll have to do a whole episode on the Phoenix Lights because there is so much to that story, dude.
Yeah. How about this? There is that theory that the aliens that people see are like almost like androids, where they're only here to study, and that's why they don't die, is because they can't get sick if they're robots.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think Elon Musk was the one who said that. He's like, if I was in charge of sending probes to another planet to check it out, I wouldn't send humans. He's like, I would send artificial intelligence or some kind of robots, because there's too much risk involved with sending people. There's too much human error involved with that.
Not to mention, like, I mean, the idea of like, oh well, if you send this group of people, like
rice burner driving by.
I don't know, man.
So like a Honda.
I didn't realize you could hear that, man.
Oh, dude, I can hear everything. That's a 3D printer, by the way, that's making the.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you making right now?
Printing out a grip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had a whole body printing right now. It finished like maybe 20 minutes ago. But back in like the 1400s,
we should do this with
right?
the mods, by the way. I think
that would have to be like a special episode every once in a while. But So there's like if you send one civilization to another, right? The one that's weaker typically is one that loses, right? But
Yeah.
that's on like a much smaller scale. When you have planets, there's whole other bacterias and viruses and stuff like that that are there that they get accustomed to that they will never get, or that they will never get accustomed to when it comes to what we have, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's no way they're gonna get the same stuff we have. And so when they come here, it'd be better to just send robots as opposed to like just going here themselves, because the chances of them getting sick are like super high. What I think would be really cool is the reason why they're sending aliens here, or sending robot aliens, I guess, is they're trying to figure out what kind of bacteria and viruses we have, and then they're like making vaccines. That way they can come here themselves. But that's like a super far out there theory, because
Yeah,
that, I mean,
there's no. I mean, nobody knows. So
yeah.
people come up with these theories, and they just go so far in the weeds to the point where you're like, all right, now, like I've said, if too many times. You know what I mean? Like, there's just too many ifs, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's so easy to start sounding crazy when you start talking about that stuff. But
Yeah, but that's kind of the fun of it.
yeah, that's the thing is like this whole conspiracy talk. It's not like like I said, I don't think the Earth is flat. I don't think all that kind of stuff. It's just I think it's fun to talk and discuss about the unknown,
Mhm.
and we've
Yeah.
been doing that since the dawn of time. That's what humans do. They talk about stuff that we wonder about. So that's the whole purpose of this.
You know what does kind of freak me out though? So, and of course they have explanations for this stuff, but like the paintings that show UFOs, there's some of them where they explain it. It's like, oh, well, it's supposed to be like an angel or whatever, right? But some of them, it's like, okay, why did they put that thing there? Like a little tiny shape. And it's like, okay, there's no way that that's supposed to represent an angel. It's like a little pill-looking thing, which is what we say they look like now, right?
Yeah.
And so, like paintings from a long time ago that show the same stuff we've been talking about for, you know, centuries, right? And it's like back then they didn't know what it was, and we still don't. So I'm sure that there's something there, but for all that we know, it's just like some weird species of bird that can fly really fast or something. It's a pterodactyl.
Yeah. We definitely have to do we have to do an episode on the dinosaurs because you heard
If
about all that stuff.
dinosaurs are fake or whatever.
Well, I've heard that, and then I've heard that like dinosaurs are nothing like what we thought they were, and they were actually around a lot. I think I've heard
More
both
recently.
arguments that they were more recently or even like older, and like they've talked about the ice age and how that relates to that and stuff like that. Because I mean, they talk about the whole like planet killer, um, asteroid that would have wiped out the dinosaurs and how likely it is for another one of those to hit us. Which, by the way, did you hear about the asteroid that's going by? I don't know if it's. I don't. There's an asteroid that either just passed us or that's going to pass us within the next like week or two. That is about, I think they said 4 times farther than the moon. But next time it passes us, it's going to be like the same distance as some satellites. So they're treating this time as a like practice run, as like monitoring it and whether we have to do something about it. And I think they said it's about the size of the Eiffel Tower.
Which is huge for an asteroid.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like, you got to think like, because I'm sure there's mathematical equations for it and stuff. But like, going through the atmosphere, an asteroid is going to lose its mass. But then once it hits, like, how much energy is gonna come from that asteroid impacting the Earth? Like, could an asteroid size or can an Eiffel Tower sized asteroid like wipe out a decent size of the planet? Like, how does that work?
Well, my thing is, how are they supposed to actually like take care of that stuff? They're gonna nuke the crap out of it and just get it into as small pieces as possible. That way, it's not as like difficult
So
to
yeah, my
get
theory
rid
is that
of.
they would kind of use the same system that we have to
Take out other nukes and
like
missiles and
yeah, our
stuff.
anti nuke systems. I feel like they might have. I don't know. I feel like if I was in charge of that program, I'd be like, hey, how powerful can we make these things? Because like, what if they make mega nukes or something? But like they could also be used for stuff bigger than that.
The scary thing is if you detonate a nuke way too close to us, you can
All the
create EMP.
radiation and yeah,
No, not
EMPs
that.
too.
The EMP is the big one because you realize how much that shuts down. Like
Yeah, isn't
we'd be
there?
screwed for a while.
There's a book. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like 30 Seconds After or something like that, and it talks about like what would happen if like the U.S. was EMP'd or something like that, and how like it followed. I don't. I Somebody on the boat when I was in the Coast Guard. When I first got in, was talking about how he had read it and like how crazy it was, and I can't remember what it's called. It's got some catchy ass name, but basically it's like this is what would happen, and I think there's a show kind of based off that idea too. Whereas like, what if like the U.S. was EMP'd and it basically just goes back to candles
Stone
and
Age.
yeah,
Yeah.
for a while until they can rebuild. Because I mean,
Well,
you got to understand it would destroy our whole like power grid.
I have like a very basic knowledge of electronics,
Yeah,
so I don't know how specifically EMPs work. My understanding is that it mainly affects stuff that's like actually powered, because if you overload something that's already being powered, it's like it could break something, right?
yeah,
But um, now that solar panels are a much more common thing, I feel like we'd be a little bit more prepared for it. You know?
yeah, yeah. I would hope so, but you know,
Yeah. Plus, I mean, uh, we probably have better systems in place, and if not, then maybe we should
one
get on that.
second after is what it's called. But
One
there's
second
a
after.
yeah, there's a whole series. Um, 1 second after 2009 novel. It says unexpected electromagnetic pulse attack on the United States affects people living in and around the small American town of Black Mountain, North Carolina. Oh, so it focuses on just like one town.
Oh,
I mean, I actually want to read it though. It's something
that
that I've
sounds
always
cool.
thought about.
It's probably an
Uh,
audiobook about it.
yeah.
It's we're getting off topic, but I mean, crazy stuff. Definitely crazy stuff.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many topics that we can discuss in you know, I don't know, like I said,
You
I don't
gotta
know how
make
often we
like
want to
a
do this.
list,
Like,
bro.
yeah, we definitely have to make a list, but like, I don't know how often we should do this, like every 2 weeks or I feel like two
I
weeks
could do
is
it.
good.
I could do it every week or 2 weeks, whatever works best for you.
I mean, so as soon as I get monetized on YouTube, I could if I post up to 3 videos a day. That's a lot of content. So I mean, yeah.
And they only need to be at least 10 minutes. So
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah,
so I've posted conspiracy clips before, and they always did better than others, because there's people who just they like talking about this stuff or listening to
yeah,
this stuff. So, um,
yeah.
yeah, I think we're at a good stopping point for this one.
Yeah. Next one. What do you want to do, man?
I don't know. I kind of want to talk about
Bigfoot.
like
No.
I do kind of want to talk about some cryptoid stuff because there's the
Well,
skinwalkers here.
uh, Skinwalkers are a very interesting one, but I feel like they're super overhyped. So
Well,
I could talk about the chupacabra. That one would be really cool.
the chupacabra would be cool, but I'll tell you right now, I don't believe in the chupacabra. I just
I'm trying
don't.
to think of what about the Men in Black?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
See, but that's another alien related one. I feel like we got to change it up. It can't be aliens every episode.
Yeah, that's fair. We can do Mandela Effect.
Mandela effect would be dope.
Yeah.
We could talk
Well,
about
because that one I can argue for both sides.
that gets into time travel too and all kinds of stuff. Different
Does it?
reality.
I thought it
Yeah.
was only multiverse stuff.
Well, it has. They say like every time like somebody time travels, it changes stuff or something. But who knows?
I don't know. I don't think time travel is possible though. So
I think time travel is possible. It's just as soon as it's possible, everything breaks.
well, I mean,
We
so
could get into
okay.
it. We could
Well,
save
all I'm gonna say is we're traveling through time right now, 1 second at a time. You know what I mean? So that technically it's possible, but like the way that we think it is in sci-fi movies and stuff, like Back to the Future, no, it's not possible. I don't think it's possible.
I mean, black holes.
No, I mean there's time dilation, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but
gravity.
well, yeah, that's why black holes do
The
that.
strong
Yeah,
this but the stronger gravity is like is it the stronger gravity is I don't can't remember
yeah. The stronger gravity is
the
the
faster
slower,
time is or slower.
the faster time flows for everything else, but when for everyone that's in that field, it slows down. So like a
We
year
gotta
for you is
watch
like 75 years for everybody else. You
we
know what I
gotta
mean?
watch Interstellar together.
I've seen Interstellar. It's okay.
Yeah, I know, but
I
like
It's been a
talking,
while.
discussing while we watch it.
Is it on Amazon
I have
Prime
it.
Video or?
Oh, by the way, I
Well,
found out because you remember you were asking for my Voodoo account.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
the password or what?
my movies anywhere has everything on it, not my Voodoo.
Oh.
So I can give you my
Because I
movies
want to watch
anywhere.
Blade Runner 2049 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's on movies anywhere.
Yeah.
I just
But
got I just got Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit extended, all of them.
dude, I remember we saw the first Hobbit, and then you went off to boot camp, and we never saw the other ones.
Well, so The Hobbit, the first one was the second one was really good, and the third one was like, why did they make this? It's just
it was
too
dog water.
like honestly, it could have been. It definitely should have been two movies,
Uh,
and they made it
well,
three because it's one book. They made three movies out of one book, whereas they made one movie out of one book for each Lord of the Rings movie.
I don't know, man. We watched Lord of
It
the
was a
Rings so
cash
much when
grab.
when I was little. The Lord of the Rings, we watched it so much, and I still have no idea what's going on with that
Yeah, we'll
series because
definitely have to
it's
watch
been
that.
years. Yeah,
I gotta go
but
because little man's trying to open the door right now. And
let me in. Let me in.
but all right,
Yeah, all right, man.
good talk.
We'll do Mandela Effect next time then, I guess.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty good.
I would like to aim for. I don't know how long it's gonna take to get monetized. I've heard some people say, like 6 days or a couple weeks. So
Did Ben Jamins get monetized or no?
yeah, he got monetized like right away. I think it's because he's getting a ton of
Okay.
views. But the thing is the first time I applied, there was some kind of issue. I don't know if it was with the title or thumbnail, but I assume it had something to do with a video that I had. So I fixed that and I reapplied, and it still says in process or in progress right now for the second step. Once the second step completes, it automatically starts where somebody goes and manually reviews my channel to make sure they don't see any red flags for like, all right, this guy's gonna upload inappropriate stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Cool. I'm excited to do more of these because this is pretty fun, man.
Yeah, it's different. I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
This was your idea, so like I said, you know.
Yeah, well, that's why my name's up there, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but all right, man. Well,
All
until
right.
next time.
Yep. Peace.